Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Come to you live from the outskirts here, and it's the Gaming Saloon for December 28th, 2025, with your host, Space Player 2448, and Ramp It Up Salon.
Hi.
This is a lot of lasts, because it's the last TGS of the year. It's our last stream of the year. And it's our last thing for the year in Extravaganza.
Yep. About to last.
Mm-hmm. And surprisingly, a decent amount of news, even if it's the end of the year, and this is the shortest release list I've had to put together in a while.
If ever.
I feel like I've maybe put together a shorter one, but like a long ass time ago. I can't say specifics, even though since I do doing the postings on the YouTube, I have to edit the notes slightly for TGS just to have the links have the titles if they can. I don't look at the release lists. So I don't know if there is a shorter one than this.
Makes sense.
But yeah, like I said, we have a decent amount to talk about. Before we get into that, Tommy, what have you been playing the last couple of weeks?
About the only thing that I've done any amount of is I've tried my hand at the Archipelago stuff for Slay the Spire.
Ooh.
I am not good at Slay the Spire. Just putting that out there.
Just in general, or the specific characters you were dealing with?
Apparently just in general.
I feel like the Archipelago does add that bit of extra difficulty.
It's possible. But it was also, I was trying to test out settings, so I wasn't really fully committed. So yeah.
Fortunately, the only thing I really have is I chipped away at SRWY, the tiniest bit. I did just a couple missions. So I'm probably not finishing that before the end of the year. But that could go on the start of next year's, like, all I beat list that I've kept track of. And boy, that list is real short this year. Would you care to guess how short it is?
How short?
So if we don't count two of the live service gacha games I play in specific arcs involving them, it's only 3. And none of those 3 were on my backlog list. Because I did Lego Batman for retro achievements, because I had never played Lego Batman. I did Lego Indiana Jones, because again, I never played Lego Indiana Jones. And then I did Pikmin. Besides that, I decided that that with the amount of time you can put into any of these gacha games, there has to be a way to kind of define a completion point, or maybe a beating point. And so I decided, well, Zenless splits its major arcs, it seems like, into seasons. So season 1 ended this year, so I counted that as game completion. And then for Star Rail, since theirs is kind of by planet, they had their whole Emporius arc basically for a year and then ended a few months ago. So I counted that as game completion. So it's like, I did 5 out of 11, and none of these were on my backlog, so it helped none. Good job, me. And I think I just added Cassette Beast to this because I picked it up off Epic for free yesterday, because that was the free game. I don't know if you remember what that is?
Maybe, but I don't right offhand.
It's a Pokemon-like game that it's an indie title. It is more like proper Pokemon, like Power World. But you turn into the Pokemon and you can fuse different Pokemon together to create new ones. It's that. It's very good. I played it when I had Game Pass a couple of years ago, and since I got put on Epic for free, I was like, I will grab that and maybe get to it one day. One thing I had been like doing in the background, just kind of chipping away at, that I have linked in the doc, because I don't know, I might as well show my work, my really dumb, stupid work. So, Pokemon's anniversary is next year, and I don't know why, but I've been in the mood to try to watch different folks' Pokemon TCG stuff. So I've seen some folks try to complete some master sets, some folks try to complete a set within a certain amount of time, those sorts of videos. I found some decent folks, even if I think a couple of them are a bit extra for no reason. But that feels like this is how normal YouTubers are that aren't everyone else I follow. This is how they act. Okay, that's good to know. But I decided I want to see from the Pokemon TCG's perspective, how completable is it to get every Pokemon's final evolution with similar card borders, aka the silver card borders that have existed since the Scarlet and Violet era of the TCG. And it is surprisingly more than you would expect, especially given that exact time frame. Because basically, the original 151 are done, except for Golem for some reason.
Huh.
Like I could check again to double check and make sure, but there's no Golem card. Like vanilla regular Golem card. Because there's a Golem EX card, which doesn't count because the rules of this are stated above, but basically the starter evolutions have to be EXs because they're the starters. So they have to have an EX version. I can't take a regular version. Everything else that is a vanilla regular Pokemon can be your vanilla regular Pokemon, but they can't be an EX. Your legendaries have to be some sort of alt art. And they have to attempt to match as best as possible. Kind of make a complete set of them, more or less. But yeah, there's no EX Golem card. There's an Alolan Golem card, but there's no regular Golem in this border. Even though there have been Golem cards of regular borders for years. Because I've been using one website that is just like, type in the Pokemon. All right, here's all the cards with their arts in English. But otherwise, it's like the other missing ones are like the evolutions outside of 151, basically, or outside of Gen 1. Except for Moltres. There's no Moltres alt art that really lines up with Zapdos and Articuno.
Huh.
Yeah. The closest you get is technically there is a Team Rockets Moltres, which I don't count because that is not vanilla Moltres. It would only count if there was a Team Rockets Articuno and a Team Rockets Zapdos. And then maybe I would make an exception for that, but no. Like Gen 2, none of the starters have EXs, but the rest of the gen is fairly like filled out. There's a good bit of holes in there, especially when you get into basically the Legends ZA stuff. There is basically nothing for Legends ZA in the current format. Gen 3, only Blaziken has an EX. See if I can remember some standouts. Gen 3, there is just holes for days for Gen 3 legendaries. You've got the Lattes, you have Groudon, and then that's it. No Reggies, no Kyogre to match up, no Rayquaza to match up, no Jirachi, no Deoxys, nothing. Somehow Infernape's the only starter missing for Gen 4. Otherwise, Gen 4's got a good amount of holes into it, especially once you get into legendaries. Gen 5, only surprisingly, Superior is the only one with an EX. I feel like Superior is like the least like starter of the three of those for Gen 5. I don't know if that's just me.
Yeah.
I feel like people would more go Emboar or Samurott, even if Samurott kind of like doesn't follow what people thought that evolution line would go. Otherwise, Gen 5 pretty filled out. I think the only missing ones are the two from, or the one from ZA, or not ZA, Arceus. We're gonna guess from, that's a Galar regional variant, isn't it, technically? Yeah, that is from Galar. Jellicent, surprisingly. But like all of the legendaries are there and they all match up. Like that is surprisingly consistent. I guess no surprise, Greninja's the only Gen 6 starter with an EX. Otherwise, Gen 6 is pretty filled out until you get to like the back end of it, and then it's just holes for days. Primarina is the only starter from Gen 7 without an EX. And then Gen 7's pretty hole filled, especially in the legendary category, because like it is just nothing. You only got half the Tapus, and then none of the Ultra Beasts. For some reason, Gen 8 does not have EX starters that I could find. But otherwise, it's pretty complete until the back end with like some of the later ones in legendaries. And then for whatever reason, so I've come to find out, Spectier and Calyrex do not have any cards besides the singular cards that were released for that gen.
Sounds about right.
All of those should be there, but they are not for some reason. I guess when I uploaded the doc, it deleted them for some reason. But like Gen 9 is basically complete, which is no surprise. Even all of the Ultra Beast, every single one has a card. Except there is no vanilla Terrapagos card.
Huh.
The only Terrapagos cards are in its like full proper turtle form or its stellar terrestrialized form. Now, I also included alternate forms. There's only like 2 Deoxys alternate forms. There's like one missing Rotom form somehow. All the Origins do have one, but there's also no Kyurem White card. That's an alt art. There's no other Zygrade cards. There's not a Lycanroc Dust card, which is like that in between Lycanroc that is basically from the anime. None of the Zaxians that are like not powered up. I don't know how much we should count them, but those don't exist. And there's nothing for the other Tatsukiri forms. Regional wise, it's just most of them just aren't here. Megas wise, really that's only really going to count from going forward because the TCG has transitioned into basically being ZA themed. So all of these new like alt arts for the megas are just from those sets. So it's like, oh, these will fill out eventually.
Maybe.
I threw in the Ash Greninja because it's basically a mega without being called a mega. Technically, this breaks the rules because it is older than that, but it's like the only Ash Greninja card we've ever gotten. I'm pretty sure. I could double check real quick. Yeah, we have gotten one Ash Greninja card ever. And that card's it. Bear in mind, they made a big deal in the anime with this form, and this is the only card they ever made of it. But the dumbest thing ever. So we have all of these really nice consistent alt arts for all of the G Maxes from Sword and Shield, right?
Yeah.
Do you notice the gap?
Yep.
There is no card specifically for the Appleton version of the G-Max, which, reminder folks, it looks the exact same as the Flapple one. They never made one for Appleton. They only made one for Flapple. In fact, I'm pretty sure Appleton has less cards than Flapple. Yeah, Appleton has 6 cards. Flapple has 12. So yeah, this really dumb, specific hole prevents there from being a full, complete, like, gallery of G-Maxes. Even though it would basically be the exact same as that Flapple card with a different name. But yeah, that is basically what I've done on and off for like several weeks whenever I felt like it and just went through. Hopefully I didn't miss anything when I was copying over names and stuff. I can't wait to find out from someone who looks at it and goes, oh, you're missing this. But yeah, I guess anything else before we hit the news?
No.
All right. We do have to start with the sad news. Just to get it out of the way. Vince Zampella, co-creator of Call of Duty and head of Battlefield, has unfortunately passed away this past week. He was in a car accident. Apparently his car veered off the road, hit a concrete barrier. It killed him on scene. Don't know about the passenger. Passenger died after being transported to the hospital. But sad news from the person who brought us the COD, basically. Also, only 55. Any thoughts?
No.
All right. Time for your regular news then. So, EA shareholders have approved the acquisition by the conglomerate of Saudi Arabia investment funds and private equity, whatnot. So, oh boy. Bad things in EA's future. Apparently, shares for EA will now be worth $210 a piece. Any thoughts?
No.
All right, then. Well, you know how Claire Obscura swept the Game Awards?
Yeah.
So, at a different awards show, this is the Indie Game Awards, they have revoked the awards that Expedition 33 acquired, apparently because some generated AI assets were in the game at one point. I know the word went around months ago that some placeholder assets were generative AI, were just, I think they were specifically on like a bulletin board somewhere in the game specifically, but otherwise they were there, they got pointed out, the devs removed them, said nothing about it, and everybody moved on. But now that Expedition 33 is getting awards, everyone has gone, oi, remember how you used some generative AI nonsense? About that. You're disqualified. So yeah, back in April, any thoughts on this?
No, because I mean, I get the feeling that this is going to be that rocky situation going forward, period, anyhow, and I'm like, no.
This feels less about Expedition 33 and more of a statement of, if you decide to use generative AI, and you try to put, and you are at our award show, we are going to put you in the dumpster. We do not care. We are making a statement with this rather than it being explicitly against Expedition 33, it feels like. Because like I said, we're talking about a thing from April of this year that I feel like was reported and made the rounds in April. And then everyone forgot about it. All right, how do you feel about Lego and the Pokemans?
Oh boy.
So we have some details for the summer sets for Lego Pokemon. And by details, I mean we just have names and set numbers. So we have Squirtle's Training Buggy Adventure, Charmander's Wild Encounter with Geodude, Pikachu's Training House, which will include a Smart Brick, Cubone versus Gengar's Ghost Challenge, Jolteon versus Charizard, Score Bunny Evolution, Stadium Bus with the Pokemon Larvitar and Croagunk, the Eevee Evolution, Dojo House and Riolu, Mewtwo Lab, and more. All of these are going to be Smart Play enabled, i.e., they will have the Smart Bricks, which is a 2x4 brick that basically makes lights and sounds and stuff happen. Figures and stuff will probably be smart. If there are mini figures in the set, they're probably going to be smart minifigures, which means they have little RFID tags that will sound off stuff. And they'll have smart tags, which is what's in the Mario sets, the little 1x1 tiles that are a thing that stuff can read and goes, that's a thing. But yeah, otherwise we have no other information. This is all coming from BrickTab, but I have the Reddit thread linked because that's where I see it, because I follow this Reddit. Any thoughts?
Nah.
I love that we're finding out more and more about these Pokemon Lego sets, and I'm like, we're not going to really see anything until like really close to Pokemon Day, aren't we?
Probably not.
Because that's February. I think it's February. February 27th, okay. Because I know it was reported a while back that like these are going to get announced on Pokemon Day officially. But we've just gotten like basically listings and stuff saying this is what it is and nothing more. I just find it funny because like here it's just like, we have names and set numbers, but no prices, coincidentally enough. But if you look at, I don't know, Lego Star Wars, guess what we have in the Lego Star Wars world?
What?
We have names, we have descriptions, and we have prices. And now I can't find it. Why can't I find it?
Because now we don't have any of it.
There it is. Must not have been back far enough. Yeah, for the March sets, we have like a full description of Luke's X-Wing, which will be 584 pieces for $100. And it'll be like, it's got 2 smart minifigs, it has 3 regular minifigs, it's got a smart brick, it's got a wireless charger, it has the smart tags. Like there's a little like a half dozen sets here with like set names, set numbers, piece counts, prices, at least a description of what the build is, along with what the minifigures and stuff are in it. But with Pokemon, nope, nothing. Like, I genuinely want to see what these Pokemon sets are, because they are probably going to be the last thing anybody wants. Especially because I found out that, like, from a Lego YouTuber I follow, did you know that there was a Lego series that wasn't Lego that had a Mario license that did Mario minifigures?
I didn't, but that kind of makes sense.
I think it was for Mario Kart 7. I wish I could find the video real quick. One person I follow. Well, I can't find them. One second. Okay, there's him. There's his video. But yeah, it was Mario Kart 7 specifically from Connects. You remember Connects? Or no, not Mario Kart 7, Mario Kart Wii. They did proper minifigures of the Mario cast of characters.
Huh.
Like, there's an example from the video. And it was pretty extensive because I don't know if this is the full roster, but that's an example of the roster of minifigs they made. For a Mario Kart Wii license they had, just to make Mario Kart Wii based, like, basically tracks. I just look at this and I go, Lego, this is all people wanted, really. when you have the while you have the Mario license is this. It would be just like regular Mario figures. And regular Lego kits. Why did you bolt on all the fucking gimmicky bullshit? We could have had this, but we can't. But you could maybe find this. Anywho, I guess any other thoughts?
No.
All right, then. On a random tweet, Team Cherry announced an expansion for Hollow Knight Silksong called Sea of Sorrow. It will be free. So this is a free add-on to Silksong coming next year. No details on when, no other specific details on other stuff. But we are getting more Silksong next year for you sickos that love Silksong. Any thoughts?
No, it's kind of funny that as much as Silksong was built up, it also feels like it kind of just came out and then disappeared again.
I think it was because everyone hopped on the Silksong train because it was the game that was announced and took forever to come out. So it broke containment, and then people played it and went, "Oh right, this is one of those sicko platformer games that like is stupid difficult and hard and demands your attention. I don't like that." And so people dropped it immediately.
Yep.
Because bear in mind, Hollow Knight is the exact same way.
I mean, Hollow Knight is 2D Dark Souls.
Yeah.
Literally.
It's the entire point of it. And Silksong broke containment because of memes. And then people tried out Silksong because of memes and went, "Oh, right, this is a sicko game. I am not a sicko. I should not play this." And then didn't play it anymore. So how do you feel about Marathon still?
It's a thing that Bungie's trying to make.
Well, it will come out in March,
Maybe.
as they say at a shareholders meeting.
That's assuming Bungie's still around in March.
They've apparently done up some new, revamped some stuff. They have 23 minutes of detailing stuff.
I have 23 seconds of carrying, and that happened 22 seconds ago.
But it will be $40 at launch.
It could be $4 at launch, and I still don't care the way that they've decided to ruin Marathon.
You know, I would say this would kill Bungie, but I don't know if
Destiny already has.
I mean, yeah. But I'm like, would Sony let them die? Or would they just reanimate the corpse into something to make some money back from their acquisition of them?
Sony would let Freeform Bungie die.
Mm-hmm.
Bungie as a company would then be folded into a development team for Sony. And purely
technically they already have.
Not really. They're still allowed to function on their own.
Okay.
I'm meaning their only existence is just to make games for Sony based on what Sony says to make. Not what they decide might work.
$3.6 billion, by the way.
Yeah.
I'm just like, Bungie's not going to die. It's going to be turned into a reanimated corpse by Sony because they're like, "You're making our money back we spent on you, god damn it. We don't care if we have to turn you into a support studio for, I don't know, fucking Horizon or something." You're making money back for us, damn it.
Maybe.
So yeah, I guess tune in 3 months for the final nail, basically.
Huh, they had the final shape, now they've got the final nail.
God, yeah, I wouldn't even think about that. I guess we have 3 months to finish our run through of final shape. Which, listening to a very long retrospective on the entire Destiny franchise, you know how we like ended off that encounter with that thing in the broke the statues and stuff?
Yeah.
That was technically the end of the campaign when it first came out.
Yeah, that tracks.
The other stuff we're at now, that was the holdover stuff until the raid launched. And then when the raid launched, you then got the final proper mission that you could go fight the witness in. But we can't just skip to that mission. We have to do the busy work stuff. And I do mean when the raid came out, because when the raid got beat, that's when that last mission was released. So yeah, we have to do the busy work to properly finally end final shape and probably end our collective time with Destiny 2 ever, because we will probably not play it again until it's dead. Other news. How do you feel about hackers giving away free money? So, Ubisoft had a bit of a hack this weekend in Siege, because apparently some hackers got into Siege. Let's see. Doing server-wide bans, spelling out lyrics and controversial statements. In addition, some received rare and developer-only skills for characters and billions in in-game credits amounting to tens of thousands of dollars. Rot-row. I know one tweet in Discord and has it noted at $13 million worth of in-game currency to roughly 30 million active players.
Yeah, that tracks.
Apparently they are rolling back the servers to undo this, because that's not good for our economy. Specifically their in-game economy. But apparently, kind of associated with this, there might have been other hacks at the same time, this is not confirmed yet, that got into Ubisoft internals and got maybe 900 gigs worth of material from internally within Ubisoft. It's not confirmed yet, but there seems to have been several hacker groups associated with it. So if we see internal Ubisoft stuff come out in the next few weeks, they might have decided to go after Ubisoft just across the board. But any thoughts?
I mean, or it could be internal, because you know they were in all of that stink.
What? No.
Just saying.
No, they're totally not trying to take the IPs, put them in another company, and then let Ubisoft burn to the ground. No, that's totally not what's happening at Ubisoft currently, at the moment.
I mean, if they were air quote hacked, that would make sense.
But last up, to round off some news, hey, Zenless has a new update in like 2 days. It's pretty massive.
But it's only a half update. making a joke because it's 2.5.
True.
I know how versioning goes. I just had to make a joke because of it.
I had to take a minute to like figure it out. of like, what does he mean by half update? Oh, okay. So first and foremost, this is going to be the update that's going to let us have Xinguang playable, who we've had for the last couple of updates and story stuff. She's a big fancy sword wielder that has a base that allows herself to go Super Saiyan to hit you with all the swords. Additionally, we're getting Zhao, who is this little bunny friend, who is a judge that will send your ass to hell if you decide to commit blue-collar crimes. I'm not kidding. That's what she does. That is her job. But you're getting her for free if you just log in. They're just giving you small bunny for free. Additionally, story is continuing. We're kind of like hitting a big culmination point of all the stuff we've been doing in season 2. Additionally, 5 different playable characters, Soldier 11, Grace, and Zero Ambi, Ellen, and Bernice, are getting enhanced and updated mechanics that you can apply and get materials for and upgrade. So if you have any of those units, you're getting basically like a 2.0 version of the character in this update. We're also getting a whole bunch of free rewards and polls and all sorts of event stuff. It is a lot. Like, this is a lot. But yeah, I really enjoy Zenless, and so I am very happy, and will be very happy in 2 days to be like, well, I'm playing this big fancy update and getting all the stuff. Any thoughts?
No, but I mean, this is more kind of a you than a me, so.
Exactly, which is why it's at the end. So yeah, that's all our news. Anything else before we hit releases?
No.
All right, it is a short list, so I'll read all of them because why not? So on December 31st, our last 2 releases for the year are going to be Fistful of T-34s for boarding card and Rowdy Partners for boarding card. On the 1st of January next year, we get Berserker Boy for PlayStation 5 and RoboCop Rogue City Collection for Series X and PlayStation 5. I guess that's the base game plus its DLC it got. Because they at least got a DLC. I don't know if it got more than that. On the 5th the next year, Dread Out Remastered Collection for PlayStation 5. On the 7th, Fairy Tail Dungeons for Switch and Kajura for Switch. On the 8th, Bunny Rampage History of Revenge, Cozy Caravan for Switch and iOS. And I Am Future Cozy Apocalypse Survival for Series X, PlayStation 5, and Switch. Those words don't seem like they should go together. On the 9th, Centrum Premium Edition for PlayStation 5 and Switch, Go-Kart Island for Switch, Spear for Series X, and on the 10th, Bluey's Quest for the Golden Pin for Android for all you Bluey folks. And that will do it for the show, for the year. Anything else?
No?
All right, then. We are kicking off next year with the usual batch of stuff. Thursday, Thursday, we're continuing the Gacha Akemi. We're going to hopefully get the helmet done and maybe get the arms where I want them. We'll see. The helmet might take the entire rest of the stream to get how I want, since I had to basically kind of roll updates back and then slowly roll things forward to get to where I want it. But that'll be Thursday. Friday, we are back to Across the Cubiverse. I completely forgot what we were doing. I was hoping to
Again?
remember. Yes.
Simpsons Road Rage.
Yes, Simpsons Road Rage. Saturday, we're going to hopefully finish the Archipelago we've been having the last 2 Saturdays.
Hopefully.
Mm-hmm. And then Sunday, for the first TGSR of 2026, we are watching the first 4 episodes of Donkey Kong Country, the TV series. I will stand by and say there are worse things on that list than Donkey Kong Country.
Unfortunately, yes.
There are far worse things we could have watched. So, you know what? Donkey Kong Countries will be fine. It'll be fine. It'll also be great notes-wise because it'll be like, well, here's the plot, here is the music break, and then here's more plot. Because that's how every episode of that show's formatted. Oh. But in 2 weeks, we will be back with the first TGS of the year with good news, I hope. Look, I acknowledge that the industry has had some really bad news. I quite literally have a video from one of the podcasts I listen to that is just like, here is all of the industry burning down segments that they do. Would you care to guess how long that is for the entirety of this year?
Probably way too long.
11 hours.
Definitely way too long.
That is every individual segment from every weekly episode they do, because they are weekly with their gaming news podcast. Every segment of that put together into one compilation over 11 hours. At least it was shorter than the year before. The year before, I think, was probably double that, because it was at least 2-parter. So yeah, hopefully we have good news. But if you like what you're seeing, you can drop a follow, really appreciate it. Exclamation point, YouTube, and check this YouTube archive for this and all our other streams. It's been on a break for a couple days because I needed a break for a couple days before I go about the marathon of getting all the weekly co-op scheduled for 2020. It's almost there. It should, by, I don't know, the midpoint of next year, be done for all the archive stuff. That has been my estimate. Basically, is that it would take a year to get it done, so it should be done by midpoint next year. So we're getting there, thankfully. But yeah, so the weekly co-ops will go up starting Tuesday this week. But exclamation point social and chat is our social media handle, so you know when we go live. Exclamation point Discord and chat is listening. Drop by, say hi. We'll see you in the new year, folks.